I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Valeska, I think, is going to be a couple of minutes late. I was just trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but we'll go ahead and get this kicked off. I'd like to welcome everyone tonight, and I'll say a prayer and then say the pledge. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for this opportunity to come and to discuss matters that deal with the airport and the city. And we just ask you that you bless all of us and bless our decisions as we look for what is the best for our community and what can help this airport continue to be the beacon and the light that it is and to grow in this area. Lord, we ask you now to continue to watch over all of our families and bless us and keep us safe and forgive us of our sins. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And I'll publicly say, Ken, I appreciate you covering for me last month. So I think, have you got anybody that wanted to speak, Chad?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, then I'm looking for approval of the last board meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Shelley Hutton.
Aye.
Ken Lowry.
Aye.
Paul Myers.
Aye.
Bill Shacklett.
Aye.
Steve Waldron.
Aye. All right, Chad. Looks like item number 4.
Yes, finally. We have before you the Air Traffic Control Tower Siting Study Grant. This is for a total of $145,700. 90% of this is going to be coming from our federal non-primary entitlements, the MPE money, and then 5% state and 5% local. And this is going to be taking care of the siting, and part of that comes kind of in a bunch of people are going to be involved in this process. Barge is going to be providing survey information to the FAA. The FAA will take that information, do their 3D modeling, and that will determine of those 3 sites that we have, which one is the better one that they recommend to us. Then we can approve that site if that's the one we want to go with. And then from there, Barge can begin initial design, knowing the location, the height, things like that, and then the FAA will complete the final report on that. We've gotten through the initial environmental assessment on this just for the siting purpose of this. When we actually get the actual site, we'll talk to the state and the ADO about what type of environmental we'll need to do for that now that we have the site. In all 3 cases, though, they're sites that have all been previously disturbed and are maintained and mowed and all that stuff, so we shouldn't have any issue there. It should be a documented CADX or something similar to that. So there was discussion going back and forth about who was going to do this site work. Barge, initially, we had a group that was going to do that with Dave Byers and Peter Deeks. But in the end, after talking with the FAA, it just seemed like a smoother flow to just keep within the family there and let the FAA do the work. We have called them because there was a third part that I was going to present to you today, and Joe's got it, is the non-reimbursable agreement with the FAA to do their work. Now that, because it took so long to get the environmental out, that document is old. So we've asked them, is that still good, or do we need a new one with new numbers? Because their cost, high end, is around $71,000. We haven't heard back from them. That's a little concerning, but we're going to keep after it, and Barge has got all kinds of connections in there with the FAA, so we'll be patient for another week and get that taken care of. So for right now, I just need your approval to go with the grant using our MPE money, and that also helps us to make sure that we're using up all of our MPE money as needed.
So let me, I'm going to ask a question just to be rhetorical, basically. For the public's knowledge, we have not approved a tower to be placed at this airport.
No. We've, it's multiple steps, and we were approved to be in the federal contract tower program. The next step was to identify a location for where a tower could go. And then with that, we'll kind of know, Barge will be able to say, now, this is the site, this is what it's going to take to get utilities to it, this is the height of it, which is going to be a major cost. So now we'll know what the cost of that is.
Correct.
And so another piece to that puzzle. The next step really to that then is to look at the timing. This could take a year just to get through this process for the FAA to complete their report and all that. So a year from today, let's talk about this is the cost and where are we in that process. So there's a lot happening.
And so one other comment that I'd like to kind of discuss just a little is it appears that B&A is still fast forwarding even their next level of growth already, and they may catch us somewhere in the middle of all of our process.
Yes.
So are we going to have any issues whatsoever if they go to this C plus B, whatever they want to call it?
They're in Super C now.
Okay.
C plus or whatever. So the next step is B. And from every indication that we have in talking with Doug Krulin and all that, if they have not submitted that paperwork already, it's soon to be crossing the FAA.
I think so too, yes.
And they're busy, and I don't see that slowing down at all. So they need that, and they want it bad. And their air traffic controllers want it bad too, because it's a huge
So
pay
once it
raise for them.
engulfs us, we're going to assume this tower won't be a hindrance, it actually could actually help some things.
Yes. We'll be,
I would see it as a bonus,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
Say again?
I would see it as a bonus.
I think so too. And, there might be other reasons that it doesn't benefit us as much, but when that happens, I think it will definitely benefit us to get in and get out of this area. It's kind of like having, almost like when we have a TFR.
Yes.
There are issues, coming and going, and I think it will give us other options for people to be able to fly in and out from under that B.
and I think it'll be interesting too in a year or two from now too to see where they are. There's a lot of discussions going on in the background. We talked about the technology that's in the current towers that are being built, like at John C. Toon, and some of the disappointment that there is in that. But there's a lot of discussions in the background of how we will be hopefully equipping those towers in the future, like seeing ADS-B type things like Vertower in there.
Right.
That'll help, and
Right.
hopefully there'll be an answer to having the strips in there too, so you can file your flight plan here and better communication all around. So I think in a year from now, there's going to be a lot of answers that'll be before you. The cost, the location, the height, all that stuff. Where is B&A? Where are we with MTSU? All that stuff.
Sure.
And we'll look at and we'll continue to look at our operation numbers and all that. I think, according to Dave Byers, even, we came up with that model with MTSU moving a significant amount of traffic to Shelbyville, and we were still a benefit cost analysis of 1+,
Right.
so.
And I think the time will also, as you just mentioned, I think it will help maybe for the technology side, and hopefully we can get past just a visual only kind of a scenario.
Yeah.
Okay, any other thoughts or questions?
So again, what we're voting on here, Chad, is just the prerequisite work required so that in the future we have the ability to say yes or no to a tower.
Yes.
Whereas
Yeah.
if we hadn't have done this pre-work and we decided in the future we needed it,
Yeah.
then we'd have multiple years of
You wouldn't know
prerequisites to have
you
to
wouldn't
do.
know the cost, you wouldn't know where it would be located,
Right.
and a bunch of other things that are going to come to us.
Any other questions? All right, then I think Chad's looking for a motion to approve this grant.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Ron, can you call the roll?
Shelley Hunting. Shannon Lowry. Paul Myers. Bill Shacklet. Valeska Starnes. Steve Waldron.
All right, thank you all. All right, Chad.
All right, so the next part of this then is the barge design solutions portion of this, and this is their work authorization to do their side of the work. And this is for $63,589. And of course, like you just approved the grant, so this will cover 95% of this cost. So a small portion will be ours. This will be survey work, but then there's also a lot of information that they have to provide the FAA as well. And you know, we kind of are in a weird position in that our ALP is quite old because we've been putting it off for this MTSU, getting their plans together. So some of this work that Barge is putting in for is updating our Exhibit A with the our layout plan that we have, the buildings that we have. You know, in our airport layout plan, the terminal was the old building. The Quonset hut is still in place. Mike Jones's new hangar is not in there. And then we've all talked about updating the plan set for the old soccer field. So all that's part in there. So we're kind of prematurely kind of updating the Exhibit A to show where future buildings will go for this study. That's a big difference as to where that tower is, what the height is as we look to the north and those different hangars over there as to what those heights of those hangars may be. And they'll figure that into their siting of all that. So Exhibit A's, B's, even looking at some of our property, which is coming, you know, we've sold and we've bought property, and that has changed a lot too. So a lot of work is going in here besides just some survey information to the FAA. So just need a motion on that for approval, or if you have any questions, Benson will answer those for you.
Any questions? If not, need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Cannon and a second from Beal. Call the roll, please.
Shelley Hunting.
Aye.
Shannon Lowry. Paul Myers.
Aye.
Bill Shacklet.
Aye.
Valeska Starnes.
Aye.
Steve Waldron.
Aye.
I want y'all to know, when we started this, we have been turned about every which direction on to go. FAA changed their rules, the environmental changed. I mean, how many times have we been told something different?
I think we were told 3 different ways to do the environmental.
Yes. So Chad has stayed on the state, we have stayed on the state. It has been a joint effort for us to keep pushing this, but it's been very difficult to get a straight answer, and they finally gave us one, which we were relieved.
I think part of the problem is the state has not done many towers. You know, John C. Toon was handled a lot by B&A. They did most of the legwork on that. Aeronautics was minimally involved in that. Smyrna is going through the relocation, a new location of their tower. So they're a little bit ahead of us in that aspect, and that's really kind of what got us to past our environmental hurdle, is that Smyrna did it a certain way, and we kind of followed that lead because the aeronautics felt comfortable with that.
All right, Chad, annual state airport maintenance grant.
Yeah, so a benefit of some of the lobbying that occurred last year was a little bit more money towards the general aviation, and one benefit of that was instead of our annual $15,000 for the last decade or two, we get $20,000. So I don't think that's the cost of living increase that we're supposed to do with our leases and all that, but the state plays by a different set of rules. So this will go towards all our maintenance that not all of it, a small portion of our maintenance that we do out here on the field, from repairing tractors to HVAC units and things like that. So definitely something that does help.
Did you get the, you made it last month, did you get the new tractor bought yet?
No, we have not. We're trying to get it through this year, and then we'll purchase it over the winter time.
Okay.
We're going to try to get all we can out of that one, and we're debating whether to keep that still on site, because it's still working, and it's the last maybe John Deere that's made all of metal. So I've heard they're all plastic now.
You got to add DEF to all the names.
Yeah. Just for a side note on that, they put DEF in the same type of bottle as they do the Jet A, what's it, Prist? It's in the same package, same bottle, and that has, some people have put DEF in jets.
Oh.
Where they were supposed to be putting
Right.
Prist. Not good.
We need a motion to approve the grant.
You need that motion, Chad?
Yes, sir.
Make that motion.
Bill,
Second.
second, but Paul, call your roll, please.
Shelby Hunting.
Aye.
Shannon Lowry.
Aye.
Paul Myers.
Aye.
Bill Shacklet.
Aye.
Valeska Starnes.
Aye.
Steve Waldron.
Aye. All right, Chad, item number 7.
All right. So this is our initial 30% drawings of the hangar on the north end. I'll skip to the pretty picture and we'll go back from there. But this is a real nice rendering of a 150 by 100 hangar with 24-foot high clear doors, sliding doors, similar to what you see at the TDK hangar, and then office space for around 3,000 square feet of office space. You'll see much of the utilities and restrooms and things like that are going to be in the back of the building. This is just their first initial rendering. There is a drive-through garage door in the back. And one of the other comments I think Steve shared too is a need to put in some sort of enclosed garbage container facility. And I think we've got some money set aside in the CIP for that facility. It was going to be here around the terminal, but we'll put that up here on the north end, and that might not serve just this hangar, but others in the future as well, kind of a larger unified facility for all garbage on that end of the airport. But I'll go to some of the better drawings here. And you could see the location. I don't think that the second site is off the books just yet. We're going to include some language in the bid process to see what we can get, what could be possible. So if the numbers come in nicely, that could be a possibility in our hangars. We are Barge is doing a double check. These property lines between Parks and Recreation and the airport are kind of strange here at an angle, so we're making sure that we don't do anything where we're getting in trouble, getting Parks and Recreation in trouble or the airport in trouble with crossing each other's lines, because both have federal monies associated with these purchases of these properties. So Barge is doing their due diligence to make sure we're respecting each other's boundaries. The one comment that we're going to have our review meeting here, I think Wednesday. Yep. The only thing that I was looking at, and I wanted your opinion on, is that the garage door right now is down here, and I wasn't sure if that was something, if you thought would be lined up with this kind of exit. If a big truck needed to come in and back into this area, that would give us some extra room to do that. And then probably have your air conditioning and maybe the trash on one side or something nicely done in an enclosure that mimics the rest of the exterior of that building. It's hard to see on these drawings, but the colors, brick and everything are what match this building, which looks similar to Hangar 1, and it's still some of those same colors are used in the TDK hangar. It just will not be as ornate as the TDK hangar, just for lack of funding on that part of it.
Put your arrow on where you think you might locate the dumpster enclosure.
Well, if this road, if we do this drive to a garbage here, I would put it somewhere either in line with the air conditioning unit or on the other side so that a truck could come in, pull in, grab the garbage, pull out, and then go back, whichever way they needed to roll. Just trying to keep in mind how they roll in and roll out of that area.
And remind me, with the city's maintenance hangar, where does their property line kind of stop once we actually come into the?
It is, we actually
down
go along
south?
this road, and then we go up right about here, the
Yeah,
line.
that's what I was asking for, right
There's
there.
there's about 25 feet or so
Okay,
from there to here that's ours, and then we're alongside this road line right here. So in the end, in the future, this road will always continue and always have circulation, and they would have the ability to have another entrance or exit here if they wanted to. But this road will cut off here at some point when we, develop that area.
so what I'm just thinking about though is how additional tenants to the south of this building would drive to or get to that proposed dumpster site.
Yeah.
We're also going to need to think, is it inside the fence or outside the fence?
Correct.
And how we're
We definitely want it to be inside the fence or else the public's going to fill it up.
That's right.
And so, yeah, that's a no-brainer for sure. How many, on this proposal now, how many parking spaces do you have?
It's about 30?
Yeah.
About 30.
Okay.
Plus, then there'd be another 10 or so. And you could, on either side here, you could put more parking for
Yeah,
personnel, or you could
parallel
do,
or something, or, yeah.
on this side, you
perpendicular
could do the
or something,
same thing and attach it here. There is, it's hard to see in here, but there is a gate at some place, I think it's in the middle,
Yeah, it's in the middle.
that we will put in here that would allow for at least construction and anything else. If you wanted to open it up for any reason, you could. It would not be it would be a locked gate just for those particular moments that you'd need it. Because
If you could work it out, and this is a big if, but if you could work it out, I might think that the dumpster pad might be better at the south end of that building where you were first talking about putting the door right there, and then move the garage door up to the other end, and that would mean the truck would have to pull in and then back out. I get it'd have to back out some distance, but it puts it that much closer to the rest of all of our other hangars being
Yeah.
built, and they could access it. If we put it at that far end, then I'm afraid we kind of got a long little walk or drive or something for everybody else to get to
we
use
could
that.
put like a back door gate
Yeah,
into
that's
it.
what I'm
so we
thinking
could-
of.
they
Yeah,
could-
exactly.
Yeah. I like that. And I think they're used to backing up.
They probably are.
Yeah.
Long as you don't get them to where they've got to get into that AC unit up there on the side.
Yeah.
Because that'll get hit otherwise.
Yeah.
But if you can figure out a way around that, then that's probably, to me, a better
Okay,
flip-flop.
okay. Yeah, and it'll make it easier for all the folks in here.
Closer to all the other hangars going in.
Okay.
Benson, you got other thoughts on what you've got drawn so far?
We can move a lot faster when we don't involve TDOT. So we're moving through this pretty quick. I know the situation with a potential tenant, and we're trying to get this thing moving down the road, and we've got some still having a little bit of delay with steel and timing and things, and want to get this thing ready for you to get on the street.
So with your square footage that you're going to, what's that going to make your fire? You're going to,
We'll do the similar thing that we did with Mike Jones and the TDK with the camera system and fire suppression system.
Okay.
So they have been given a contact with C-Bench, and I believe there's another company that Barge has worked with also, so we'll try to see if they have a similar system, a less expensive system, or whatever that we could incorporate here, but it's the same principle of working with cameras to give you that initial heads up that you've
so
got
is that
something.
camera a monitored camera then?
It is a monitored system in that if it sees a flash, it's controlled to alert the monitoring system, and then they dispatch or give us a warning ahead of time. There's also an alarm that goes off, I think, during working hours that they could abate it just in case. But this avoids the costly,
Phone system?
putting in a foam system, which has its own lots of
Right.
drawbacks and everything. I'm sure everybody on Facebook or something has seen where a foam system has been deployed, and it can destroy an aircraft. So I don't know what,
Going with some kind of overhead gas or electric heat in the hangar, or any?
In Mike Jones, we used gas, so we'll see what
The utilities are right there. I think that's what TDK has, so we were anticipating using the same.
On the sprinklers, is that like an ESFR or a dry system? What is it going to be with the camera system?
It is dry, and then it would, if it spots the heat source or whatever, or smoke, it starts the alarm, and after so long, then the sprinkler system would be released. You're going to get a response. The idea is to get a response from the fire department before the sprinkler system goes off. It takes a while to get that sprinkler head heated up enough, but in the meantime, you would hopefully isolate an issue before it even gets that hot, and you're melting the element up there to get the sprinkler system going.
I see.
We did crazy overkill on the concrete floor of Jones Hangar. I hope we can kind of bypass that much craziness
I
on
think
this one.
you're going to have a little bit more experience with Barge and their hangars, that we don't overdo it. Another kind of savings along that line that has happened just within the last few weeks, after I think 2 decades of trying, the state finally got a state asphalt mix that was approved by the FAA. So what we ran into in front of Mike Jones, where we had just this small area of ramp, it had to be the FAA standard, which basically shuts down the asphalt plant. You have to change up all the filters and all that stuff and meet a standard which is really strict. With this, it's the state highway mix, more or less. The testing standards are still high compared to just state mix, but the mix itself is the state mix, and so that will be hopefully a cost savings for us. I even said it to Mark Baker to get his opinion, because I knew he'd give it to me, and and he was even pleased with that mix. So he understood that the testing would be a little bit higher, but hopefully he said that we would see some cost savings in that, and certainly some timing.
Flip over one quick time to your footprint of the,
Whoa. Oh, I went too far now. There we go.
Vincent, are you bringing that water to the center of the 2 buildings, the one that's not being built, and then running the water to the south?
Yes, it's coming down the road by TDK and then turning with the project that we've got to do the grading.
Let's see if
So right there in the
Yes,
center
there we
of
go.
that, in the center of the ramp area between the 2 buildings.
That's our drain, yes. To our drainage, yes. I thought you were talking about the utility water.
No, for your drain. You gonna do all that sheet flow?
Yes, so we moved it after we got started with this, we moved it just a little bit We had plenty of room. I think we actually shortened it up a little bit. So there'll be hopefully some cost savings in the other project when we get ready to do that.
You have any idea from the northern end of where the fence would be and the parked cars, right in the middle of the parking lot, Chad, right there? What's the fall going to be from there to the center of the taxiway?
I do not know. I'd have to go back and look. It should, I mean,
The reason I'm asking that question, there's this fine line, and I know there's some FAA standards on can't be above this certain grade, but there's a fine line between getting water out of the area and,
yeah, it's like 0.5%. I mean, everything's going to be 0.5% sloping down to that drain.
right.
Now, I would assume it's all going to run here, but then stuff from here will be running into
Yeah,
this
there'll
area.
probably be some differential, yes. And of course, the parking lot will be draining back towards the road.
There's already a ditch system in there.
But you see putting the fence right up against that, between the brown and the that'll be the fence coming into the airport.
Yes. And access to customers as we get into this area will be here, and then we'll probably have another one
Sure.
on the
sure.
backside somewhere.
The only other big thing that we've got to think through pretty hard as not now, but as we move forward with any other building, is, fire access from maybe two different directions.
Yeah.
And whether or not we've got to have some cut through for, fire trucks or whatever, once we start getting a lot more hangars in there.
Right.
We want a good shot where they can come from two ends if they need to.
We've got a pretty good access shown in the hangar layout from the south end
All right.
as well.
And there is, and there's some really preliminary plans for, I think Station 6 still has to be renovated, and there's some, the fire department is trying to incorporate some sort of back access from the backside of that into the airport somehow. So that to me is really exciting, especially as that road has continued to develop.
Sure.
I could see that it'll connect right into there somehow.
Right.
And on that note, on Friday, we have a tabletop exercise with our police, fire, Rutherford County Emergency Management and all that, where we're going to do a tabletop exercise going over about 2 or 3 different scenarios to update them and let them know what our capabilities are and to learn what their capabilities are too. So that's a really good segue into that as well.
Any other thoughts, questions?
We'll bring, the next step will be, 60% drawings? So that will probably be in October. We'll bring that to you then too as we get through that step. And I'll send you the date and time for our review meeting this week on Wednesday if you'd like to attend that.
Also, on Thursday, we have a pre-con for the grading and drainage. So we'll be kicking that off as well. And hopefully these kind of will run concurrent. And as soon as we get the grading done, we'll be ready to put the hangar down and everything will kind of come together.
Part of that plan, just to keep you informed, and if people ask you, the fencing that is currently out there on the soccer fields, it takes up about half of the field, will now be moving all the way out to the road. So all of those soccer fields will now be fenced in, secured as part of the airport. The parking lot will still be accessible. So folks that have come to me, there are no scheduled leagues or anything like that are using the old McKnight soccer fields. That's all just people coming in and Some of them have a regular schedule on there on like Saturdays and Sundays for certain leagues, but those are unofficial. And so the soccer field behind the Chick-fil-A will still be open for use.
So when is the fence going to start? When will it
So
be made?
we have, like I said, we have the pre-con on Thursday for that.
Okay.
We'll issue a notice to proceed. They'll get us a schedule.
Okay.
And so by next meeting, we ought to have a pretty good schedule of what they're going to do when. I would assume that fencing all that off and making a secure area is probably going to be one of the first things that they start to do, since we don't want to have any open fence.
Remind me, I know it was a pretty tight schedule. What's the completion date required in the contract?
They only had like 60 days. Or
Yeah, it's a short period.
It's very short. And so going in, we are running into the window where I would say I don't want to do it, but I think we can get it done.
It was Hensley?
Hensley, yes.
All right, you don't need any motions on this?
No, just your input was good. The next project status report I wanted to give you was about the approach mitigation. We just had an updated meeting on that, and definitely WD Shock is kind of running that right now, along with our legal department, to review all the property owners that would be included in this study, to look at what is the ownership there? Is it already owned by a person, or are there still mortgages out there? Because all those people that would be involved with that property would have to sign off on any additional avigation easements or right of access work or anything like that. So that is coming around, and I think, what'd you say, in the next 60 days or so, we would really have our plan before us, and that's where we would need to be talking with you and for our city council members, which would really lead up to the workshop and like a neighborhood meeting. Probably after the holidays, I would say that would occur, and start to give them the information of what we're trying to achieve here, and get some survey information from them about their properties. And then that's where we'd really go into work about, we'd also at the same time be getting the appraisals for the easements. And we'd really, I think the plan is, instead of having pockets of easements all over, is to create one big easement, and that they would all be under that easement.
Well, it's per property still.
Per property still, but
Where we have the backside easements now, and we're going to give you one for front, well, instead of having two per property, we're going to tie all those together and have one big easement for each property.
so some real good progress being made there, and which really leads us into the phases. So we're in the design phase. We're really at the end of that. With the information that's before us now, we can start to estimate what easements will cost, and that's going to be really phase 2, which could take over a year just to get easements in place. Then phase 3 would actually be the work of the tree removal and tree planting and things like that. So, lot happening, but I think the picture every time we meet gets a little clearer as to what those steps are and how we're going to move forward with that process. It is complicated in that there's so many different property uses there, and how to cover that. So more to come, but it's definitely coming together. And we have our ACIP, the state aeronautics, kind of looking out our projects. The money for the FAA is there for phase 2, but we don't know what the federal source will be for that funding, because Bill, or what is it now, AIG, will be out. There'll be a new project, a new program, a new funding program, but we don't know what those are. So phase 3, 2 years from now, we'll have to figure out and find out what that federal source will be. And from our input from our neighbors, that will really help determine how that tree work, landscaping all comes to being, and that will help us get us estimates as to what that will cost. Pavement repair and rehab. We still don't have the contract, the grant for that design work over by the T-hangers. The state, again, we have some money set aside for federal money, but we pretty much run out of our bill money or AIG money. There's not enough money right now in the program to do the whole $5 million. So depending on when we do that project and what funding is available, the Airport Commission might have to make a decision as to how much of that project we want to do. Talking about the French drains under there to try to get some water moving from that's seeping up from underneath that pavement, or do we hold off and wait? I think this might, by the time we actually get to that work, the ALP might be rolling around at that same time. So we might be looking at that area and deciding the life of those old hangars and what we want to do with that pavement. Do we really want to invest a whole lot in there now or not? So again, maybe time is on our side in that case. The other room, the terminal event and meeting space, is moving along. We're getting the monitors put in and speaker system and all that. We won't be able to make the October Lobo meeting, but we will have some of those screens available for that group. But I would say by the end of October, that room will be completely functional with furniture and all the equipment working. It will have similar capabilities in that we can have a meeting in there. It can be recorded on like a Teams or Zoom type thing, and it can be recorded just audibly too. And instead of all these speakers on there, there'll be a ceiling speaker system and some handheld or something like that mic if we needed to as well. So that room is already being booked for training and all that right now. So we're just waiting to get it done. Your schedule, I included that for you as well. We've got a busy month coming up. The 27th, a little early this year, is the Tennessee Aviation Hall of Fame. I have heard that there's like 500 some people, which is more than last year. I don't know where that's all coming from, but it's a great event if you haven't gone to it yet. Landsair Owner and Builders Organization will be here the 2nd through the 5th. We've already did some work out in the center of the field to prepare for aircraft that will be tied down in the grass, kind of leveled off some areas there for that. And again, they'll be that weekend, Friday, Saturday, I think even Thursday. They pretty much rent this whole building. We'll be doing classes and events in here, and then classes in the other room and in the conference room. There will be some exhibitors in the lobby, so they did invite any of our pilots to come. I don't know if it'll be Bose or who will be selling stuff, but it'll be interesting, and it is open to anybody at the airport if they'd like to come in and talk to the exhibitors. And then as we move into October, the City Schools Airline Livery Aircraft Tail Art Show will be October 14th, and we've lined up judges for that event. And then October 18th is the actual STEAM event, STEAM Fest, from 9:30 to 1:30, or 9 to 1, actually, isn't it? And then that'll lead into our October 20th Airport Commission meeting. And then we've got November and December. Isn't quite as busy, but we'll be busy with events here in the business center for sure as we get into the holidays.
Anybody got any questions on the schedule or any other reports? Anything else on anybody's mind they want to discuss? Everybody's kind of quiet tonight. Miss Kim's got a big a meatloaf dinner in there. Be sure to get you a plate or two and enjoy, but I think we will call it an adjournment.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.